Friday, August 19th, and this is your coffee break on the HAN Network. I'm Kate Czaplinski with the latest local news, including a Stratford fire displacing 2 families, West Nile virus found in several areas of Connecticut, and more. We also take a look at the top stories of the week, and Frank Granito joins us with a Nutmeg Sports Update and a look at the forecast, and Donald Lang will take a look back on this day in history. But first, in Stratford, 2 families were displaced after a fire at a Larkin Court duplex on Thursday afternoon. Fire Marshal Brian Lampart said Stratford firefighters responded at about 3:30 in the afternoon. Lampart said firefighters found a large volume fire on the second floor and attic of 198 Larkin Court. Firefighters were able to contain the fire to the second floor and a limited area of the attic. Lampart said the fire was caused by an electrical outlet near the foot of the bed, spreading to the mattress and other contents in the room. No one was injured. However, the 2 families occupying the duplex will have to relocate until repairs can be made. The Red Cross is assisting the occupants of the homes. Bridgeport and Milford fire departments also assisted on the scene and with station coverage. And the Stamford Advocate reports that as the frequency of shootings on the city's south end continues to escalate, an effort to increase police presence in the neighborhood proved effective this week when police made a quick arrest after hearing gunfire. A 17-year-old city resident was apprehended Wednesday night after an officer was patrolling Pacific Street and heard several gunshots less than half a block away from him. The shooting, the city's 24th since March, occurred near the corner of Ludlow and Cedar Streets at about 9 o'clock at night, while dozens of people were outside, including some who were watching an outdoor movie just a few blocks away at Harbor Point. Police said a total of 12 shots were fired, including one that pierced a wall of a nearby home from 2 different weapons. Conklin said at least one other suspect remained at large on Thursday. And the state mosquito management program announced that mosquitoes trapped in 9 Connecticut towns have tested positive for the West Nile virus. So far this season, the Connecticut Agricultural Experiment Station has identified West Nile infected mosquitoes in Bridgeport, Darien, Easton, Hartford, Newington, Stamford, Stratford, West Hartford, and West Haven. Dr. Philip Armstrong, a medical entomologist at the CAS, said that they're seeing a marked increase in the number of mosquitoes carrying the West Nile virus, with recent expansion into new locations in Fairfield, Hartford, and New Haven counties. He said these increases are currently being driven by warmer temperatures and recent rainfall events, which have created additional mosquito breeding sites. According to experts, this is the most critical time of summer when virus activity reaches its peak in the mosquito population, with increased risk of human infection. No horses or humans have been reported with West Nile virus-associated illnesses acquired in Connecticut yet this season. During 2015, 10 Connecticut residents developed West Nile virus illnesses, including encephalitis and meningitis. However, none were fatal. And in other news, Ridgefield police arrested a Norwalk man for criminal possession of a gun, illegal possession of under 4 ounces of marijuana, and other charges. Captain Jeff Kreitz said that 22-year-old Denzel Riddick of Spring Hill Avenue in Norwalk was stopped for speeding on Route 7 around 9:15 in the morning on Thursday. Upon stopping the vehicle and making contact with the operator, Denzel Riddick, the officer detected an odor of marijuana emanating from the vehicle. A search of the vehicle yielded approximately 25 grams of marijuana and a loaded .38 revolver. Riddick has previous felony convictions, which disqualifies him from possessing a firearm or ammunition. According to reports, he was arrested in June 2015 for trying to pass a fake $100 bill at a gift shop inside the Marriott in Stamford. He was charged with forgery, and he was also charged in the past with assault in the 2nd degree. And despite some delays in the approval process, Darien's new Shake Shack is still expected to open by the end of the year. David Genovese, whose company Baywater Properties owns the 1340 Post Road site, said construction would begin this month and the project is aimed to finish in December. Shake Shack recently celebrated the opening of its 100th restaurant by giving out 100 free burgers to customers at every location. The latest location is at the Boston Seaport and is the most recent milestone for the popular burger chain. Shake Shack first opened in New York's Madison Square Park in 2004, but the brand has quickly expanded. At one point, it seemed as though Shake Shack would leave its Darien plans behind after the Zoning Board of Appeals denied their requests for sign variance. However, the two sides were eventually able to compromise on the number of signs and the dimensions. And Ridgefield police are warning residents not to be fooled by panhandlers. Police received multiple reports of individuals holding up a sign that read, "I lost my job, please help for food, rent, I have 2 kids, God bless," in the Cops Hill Plaza over the past weeks. Captain Jeff Kreitz said that they believe that those panhandlers are picking Ridgefield because of the residents' kind-heartedness and generosity. Police made contact last week with a male and child who were under a shaded tree at the intersection of the 2 stop signs closest to the Radio Shack storefront. According to police, the 2 were from Poughkeepsie, New York, and were dropped off there in Ridgefield. Officers verified that they were not in need of any medical attention or any services that the town or state can provide at this time. They said a relative was contacted who came and picked them up. He said it should be noted that we have had multiple reports of similar activity in the same area over the past few weeks, including multiple individuals from the same group. But there's more on that story at theridgefieldpress.com. And another step toward improving traffic flow on the I-95 corridor in New Haven area happens Friday night, according to Hearst, Connecticut media. That's because a new southbound bridge over the West River will be open by Saturday morning. The work will start at 10 p.m. Friday, resulting in some lane closures and detours. This is the area of southbound I-95 just past Long Wharf on the New Haven-West Haven border, where there's a confusing split in the highway. Motorists are often confused by this split, causing traffic to slow down and create bottleneck. The State Department of Transportation says all travel lanes on I-95 southbound will be shifted across the new bridge over the L.T. Grasso Boulevard and the new bridge over the West River. The work includes the elimination of the I-95 southbound traffic split prior to exit 44, the installation of advance warning signs, restriping of the traffic lanes, as well as the removal and installation of overhead signs and the installation and relocation of a new concrete barrier curb. But switching gears now, going to throw it over to Frank Garnido for a look at the forecast. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. Some early morning cloud cover has cleared up, and it should be mostly sunny with temperatures in the mid to high 80s for the rest of the day. Humidity will start to rise later on this evening, and it could be up around 75% overnight. Should see clear skies, though, and a low of 71 degrees as we head into the weekend. Saturday, we can expect temperatures in the low to mid 80s without too much humidity and partly cloudy skies during the day. Looks like it'll be mostly cloudy on Saturday night, though, with potential for a couple showers spread out and some humidity climbing up to around 80% as we move into Sunday morning. Sunday will be the most humid day of the weekend with periods of clouds and sun throughout the day. An expected high of only about 82, but that number will feel a lot more like 94 or 95 degrees with the humidity. There is a chance for some showers and some heavy thunderstorms later on Sunday evening, and we can expect cloudy skies overnight and on and off showers through the night and into Monday morning. So, a little on and off this weekend, Kate.
All right,
we'll see what
I'll take
happens.
it. It's fine. It's summertime. What are you going to do? All right, well, we are going to step out for a break. When we come back, Donald Eng will take a look back on this day in history. Frank has an Nutmeg Sports update, and we have some more local news coming up after this. Have a sports injury or a slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast, without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care, open Monday through Saturday, now in 2 locations. The iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk and 36 Old Kings Highway South in Darien. Or go to coastalorthoexpress.com, like them on Facebook.
Hi, this is Leo Carl from Carl Chevrolet in New Canaan. And you've heard me talk about the Chevy Volt for years. The new model gets 53 miles on EV charge daily, plus 420-mile full range. But don't take my word for it. You need to come in and test drive the Volt yourself. Visit us at 261 Elm Street in New Canaan or online at carldirect.com.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
I really wanted something that felt like a home. Coming from a big house, I wanted the feel of a home as opposed to a condo. The construction is incredible, whether it's the floors, the fireplace, the moldings, the lighting. It's as peaceful as my home was in the middle of the woods. It feels like a house. It does not feel like a condo or a townhome. I feel like I'm in my house.
You're watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. More than 1.5 million viewers have watched our live sports, news, and entertainment broadcasting since the network launched in August 2015. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Advertising Director Jessica Murrin at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
We're back on this Friday, August 19th edition of your Coffee Break on the HAN Network, and it's time to throw it over to Donald Ng to take a look back on this date in history. Don, what do you have for us today?
Well, Kate, 25 years ago, believe it or not, the U.S. First Amendment saved another country, but more on that in a second. First, though, we go to 1692, Salem, Massachusetts Bay Colony. 5 people, Martha Carrier, George Jacobs Sr., George Burroughs, John Willard, and John Proctor, executed after being convicted of witchcraft. Now, John Proctor's wife Elizabeth was also convicted and sentenced to death, but her hanging was postponed because she was pregnant. In the interim, the witch hysteria subsided. In 1703, she and her late husband had their convictions overturned based on a technicality that would be the lack of evidence against them. To 1848 we go. The New York Herald breaks the news to the East Coast of the United States gold rush in California, although the gold rush had actually started in January. As a result of the gold rush of 1848 and then 1849, the population of San Francisco grew from 200 in 1848 to 36,000 in 1852. 1991. Rioting breaks out on the streets of Crown Heights, New York, after 2 young black children are struck, one of them fatally, by a car driven by a Hasidic Jew. The driver was part of a motorcade escorting a prominent Israeli rabbi, and after questioning, he was allowed to leave the country. The incident prompted 3 days of anti-Semitic riots, including 2 deaths. Finally, now we go to 1991 for this.
With the rush hour traffic, Red Army armored personnel carriers on the streets of Moscow this morning, heading to the Kremlin. They first moved in at 4 a.m., the first sign of the coup d'etat that removed Mikhail Gorbachev from power. With tanks in Red Square, the official word from the new government, calling itself the National Emergency Committee, was that the architect of Glasnost and Perestroika was too ill to continue in office. A short statement reminiscent of the Soviet Union's past was broadcast by state television.
В связи с невозможностью по состоянию здоровья исполнения Горбачевым Михаилом Сергеевичем своих обязанностей президента СССР на основании статьи 127 пункт 7 Конституции СССР вступил в исполнение обязанностей президента СССР с 19 августа 1991 года вице-президент СССР Янаев.
Yes, the August coup of 1991, Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev placed under house arrest while on vacation in the town of Foros, Ukraine. The coup leaders had somehow convinced themselves that the people would rise up in popular support of a return to hardline communism. Unfortunately for them, they didn't really understand how the world had changed. Within 3 days, Gorbachev was able to regain power. He had followed the progress of the coup by watching CNN's news coverage while in solitary. That is your look back in history for today, August 19th, and I'm Donald Ng.
All right, thanks so much, Don. Well, getting back to some more local news today. With temperatures high and water levels low, state officials have temporarily banned fishing several areas on one of the most popular trout streams in the region. The State Department of Energy and Environmental Protection said that due to hot and dry weather, rivers and streams, they have established emergency fish refuge areas along the Farmington at the East Mountain Brook, New Hartford, Cherry Brook, Rattlesnake Hill Brook, and several more. You can get a lot more information on that at the Connecticut Fish and Wildlife Facebook page. But let's throw it back over to Frank for a Nutmeg Sports Update. Frank.
Thank you, Kate. Stanford High School announced the hiring of a new head boys basketball coach yesterday. Zach Smith, who served as an assistant under former coach Danny Melzer for the past 4 seasons, has been named the program's 6th coach since 1927. Before Smith was at Stanford, he was an assistant coach in Lexington, Massachusetts for 6 seasons. The Stanford High Search Committee, led by Athletic Director Jim Moriarty, started with 17 applicants before they've decided on Smith being their guy. Smith was the Division III Basketball Player of the Year during his career as a forward at Connecticut College. He is also 3rd on the program's all-time scoring list with over 1,300 points. Smith inherits a Stanford High School team that was 14-6 last year overall with an 11-5 record in the conference, which was good enough for the number 3 seed in the FCIAC playoffs. The Black Knights, who graduated 6 seniors, lost to Greenwich 55-52 in the first round of the Class L state tournament as a number 13 seed. And Stanford's last FCIAC championship came in 2008-2009 when they beat crosstown rival Trinity Catholic for the title. We wish Coach Smith the best of luck and look forward to seeing what him and the Black Knights have in store for us this season. Shifting gears, the first 4 games of the Little League World Series were played in Williamsport, Pennsylvania yesterday. Panama and Australia picked up wins in the international bracket over Mexico and Italy. And in the United States play, it was Kentucky and New York who came out on top with wins over Oregon and Rhode Island. Today's games include Japan versus Canada and the Caribbean versus South Korea at 1 and 3 o'clock. And in in the U.S. bracket, California will play Iowa at 4 o'clock, and Kentucky will play against Texas in primetime at 8 o'clock. All of those games can be seen on ESPN and on the Watch ESPN app. And finally, don't forget that the HAN Fall FCIAC Tour will begin next Thursday. For 1 week, the HAN Cruiser will be traveling to meet with all of the fall season's captains from all 17 FCIAC schools. The tour's first stop will be at Darien High School on Thursday morning, followed by Bryan McMahon and Norwalk High on Thursday afternoon. For the full FCIAC Tour schedule, tune into Nutmeg Sports on Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock. That's going to do it for this Nutmeg Sports Update. Let's throw it back over to Kate.
All right, thanks so much, Frank. Looking forward to that FCIAC Tour. But getting back to some more news, recapping some of the top stories we're following today. In Stratford, 2 families were displaced after a fire at a Larkin Court duplex on Thursday afternoon. Fire Marshal Brian Lampart said Stratford firefighters responded at about 3:30. He said firefighters found a large volume fire on the 2nd floor of the attic at 198 Larkin Court. Firefighters were able to contain it to the 2nd floor in a limited area of the attic. Lampart said the fire was caused by an electrical outlet near the foot of the bed that spread to the mattress and other contents in the room. No one was injured. However, the 2 families living at the duplex will have to relocate until repairs can be made, and the Red Cross was assisting the occupants of the homes. And the Stanford Advocate reports that as the frequency of shootings on the city's south end continues to escalate, an effort to increase police presence in the neighborhood proved effective this week when police made a quick arrest after hearing gunfire. A 17-year-old city resident was apprehended Wednesday night after an officer patrolling Pacific Street heard several gunshots less than half a block away from him. The shooting, which is the city's 24th since March, occurred near the corner of Ludlow and Cedar Streets at about 9 o'clock at night while dozens of people were outside, including some who were watching an outdoor movie just a few blocks away at Harbor Point. Conklin said a total of 12 shots were fired, including one that pierced a wall of a nearby home from 2 different weapons. Police said at least 1 other suspect remained at large on Thursday. And the State Mosquito Management Program announced today that mosquitoes trapped in 9 Connecticut towns have tested positive for the West Nile virus. So far this season, the Connecticut Agricultural Experiment Station has identified the virus in Bridgeport, Darien, Easton, Hartford, Newington, Stamford, Stratford, West Hartford, and West Haven. Dr. Philip Armstrong, a medical entomologist at the CAES, said they're seeing a marked increase in the number of mosquitoes carrying the West Nile virus with the recent expansion into new locations in Fairfield, Hartford, and New Haven counties. He said these increases are currently being driven by warmer temperatures and recent rainfall events, which have created additional mosquito breeding grounds. According to experts, this is the most critical time of summer when virus activity reaches its peak in the mosquito population with the increased risk of human infection. And in other news, 60-foot-high netting is expected to be up protecting pedestrians and cars at Governor's Park from foul balls hit at the baseball field sometime this fall. The netting will go from the third base side near the dugout around behind home plate and the backstop and up to the first baseline to the area of first base, protecting adjacent recreational facilities and parking lots from the balls. The project will be financed out of the state LOSIP grant for local capital improvement projects that Ridgefield receives every year. That grant is for about $150,000, and the project is expected to use about half of that. And finally, a cool photo from the Weston Forum by Abby Tanzer. Check it out, a flash of lightning branching out like a leaf across the sky during a storm in Weston last Saturday night. The lightning was sparked during a heat wave with intense humidity and temperatures hovering in the mid-90s. We'll hear later on from Frank if we can expect any more lightning this weekend, but we're going to step out for a break first, and when we come back, we're going to recap some of the top stories across all of our websites this week after this. For more than 50 years, SSS has been Fairfield County's expert service for carpet, upholstery, and drapery cleaning. We provide the best in repairs and in-depth restoration, understanding fabrics and how to properly clean and restore them. Our staff will come to your home to clean your wall-to-wall carpet to perfection. We can also pick up your fine carpets and bring them to our facilities. With locations in Norwalk, Stamford, and Stratford, SSS will get the job done fast, big or small. At SSS, you can count on our people as well as our cleaning. Find us at SSSclean.com or 203-847-8000.
Warm weather, light breezes, boats are in the water. There's no better place to celebrate summer than the Dock Shop. Whether in Darien at 51 Tokenique Road or Westport at 609 Riverside Avenue, the Dock Shop is where you'll find everything you need to kick off summer. From the latest summer apparel to the newest fishing tackle, the Dock Shop will help you get the most out of your next beach day or harbor cruise. At the Dock Shop, you'll find a wonderful selection of items made in the USA and right here in New England, all with a distinct nautical flair. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the coastal lifestyle, this is a unique place to shop. DockShop.com.
A Better View Window Cleaning Plus has been cleaning glass all over Connecticut for over 20 years. They also specialize in cleaning chandeliers, mirrors, skylights, tiles, and will power wash anything that needs cleaning. They hold an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and are fully insured and bonded. When you deal with a Better View, you're dealing with the best, not the rest. Call today for a free estimate, 203-284-8836, or visit them online, abetterviewcleaning.com.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter, and I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
I'm Frank Renito.
And I'm Donald Ing for the HAN Network.
Tune in to Nutmeg Sports Monday through Wednesday, where we bring you all the top stories for Connecticut sports.
From players and coaches' interviews to expert opinions with local sports editors, no one gets you closer to Connecticut's games than Nutmeg Sports.
Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 p.m. on the HAN Network.
We're back on this Friday edition of Your Coffee Break on the HAN Network, taking a look at the top stories across all of our HAN Network community news sites this week. And our most read story this week was about a fatal crash Monday in Oxford that claimed the life of a 23-year-old Ridgefield resident. State police said that Noah Benjamin Lubitz of Craigmore Road North in Ridgefield was killed when his 2006 Toyota Highlander went off the right side of Route 67 into a wooded area before hitting a culvert. A report said that Lubitz's vehicle was traveling south near a local mobile gas station that borders the Seymour Town line. According to state police, it took rescuers several minutes to reach the vehicle that went through at least 100 feet of woods before coming to a rest. He was declared dead at Waterbury Hospital early Monday morning. The state police's accident reconstruction team is investigating that crash. According to Lubitz's family, Noah attended Ridgefield schools, Pace University, and enjoyed fishing and reading. They said he also excelled at many sports and especially loved basketball. And the Ridgefield Press also reported on another top story this week, and that was that a pregnant woman was sent to Danbury Hospital with injuries she sustained in a head-on collision on Route 7, just north of Simpog Turnpike, around 1:40 in the afternoon on Monday. Ridgefield police identified the two women that were injured in that crash that shut down Route 7 for 90 minutes as Tu-Yan Wen, 31 years old of Reading. She was identified as the pregnant driver, and the truck involved in that crash was being driven by Mara Ann Skoranek, 22 years old of East Hartford. According to a report, Skoranek was traveling north on the state highway when she crossed over the double yellow line into the southbound lane, striking Wen's vehicle head-on. That accident remains under investigation. The drivers of both vehicles were treated and taken to Danbury Hospital by the Ridgefield Fire Department. And the death of a Stratford dispatcher was one of our most read stories again this week. Stratford Police Deputy Chief John Popick said that 35-year-old Laura Price of Seymour was heading north on Main Street in her vehicle at about 12 in the morning last Monday when the car crossed into the southbound lane near Fenelon Place. Popick said the vehicle left the roadway and struck a tree. Price was taken to Bridgeport Hospital and died a short time later. Price started her career as a part-time dispatcher for the Shelton Police Department. She then accepted a full-time position as a dispatcher for Stratford Police 8 years ago. Laura had been a volunteer fireman at the Pine Rock Park Fire Company in Shelton for the past 15 years. Her family said she enjoyed line dancing, boating, and water skiing with her brother. She was also an animal lover. Hundreds came out this week for Price's funeral to show their support. And another story that got a lot of attention this week, a Trumbull mom has filed a $1 million lawsuit against the town and school board, alleging that employees in a special needs program left her intellectually disabled daughter unsupervised, leading to her wandering alone for hours and possibly being briefly abducted. According to a lawsuit filed August 11th, 20-year-old Megan Gareda and 11 other students were scheduled to take a field trip to a Trumbull park. The students are participants in the Educating Learners in Transitional Environments program. The group had assembled at the Helen Plum building where they loaded into 2 vans for that trip. Megan was in the bathroom when the rest of the group left, according to the lawsuit, and staff did not notice that Megan was not among the students until they reached the park, at which point they rushed back to the Plum building to search for her. Police eventually found Megan on Reservoir Drive, about 1.5 miles away. Attorney Thomas Ganem, who is representing Megan and her mother, Lyndon Gareda, estimates that Megan was missing for a little over 2 hours. In the lawsuit, Ganem also states that Megan at some point was lured into a red vehicle by a man, although details of that particular incident are sparse and based on multiple accounts that Megan has related to her mother and her therapist. The suit alleges 7 specific instances of negligence, but there's a lot more on that lawsuit at TrumbullTimes.com. And finally, taking a turn to a lighter story that was popular this week with our readers. A few things have changed in the last 30 years for a group of high school friends, but the poses remain the same. Members of the Ridgefield High School class of 1986 got together recently to retake a prom photo before their high school reunion. You can check it out. Love that. Always love those photo recreations, Frank. They're a lot of fun.
It was a great picture. It was a good story, too.
But let's get one final look at the forecast.
Absolutely. Mostly sunny today. Temperature in the mid to high 80s. Clear skies tonight and a low of 71 degrees. Saturday, partly cloudy during the day with temperatures in the low 80s and a low humidity to go along with it. Mostly cloudy Saturday night, so hopefully it won't rain on Oliver's parade as he celebrates his birthday. I love you, buddy. On and off periods of sun on Sunday with an expected high of 82, but that'll feel a lot more like 95 with the humidity around 75%. There is a chance for both showers and heavy thunderstorms Sunday evening, so be on the lookout for that and expect showers to continue through the evening and overnight heading into Monday morning where we might see a couple morning AM showers as well.
All right, Frank. Well, we're going to head out for the weekend, so hoping everyone else enjoys their weekend. We'll, of course, be back Monday at 11 with your coffee break. We'll see you then.